Hello everybody. In the previous class we discussed Priestley's essay on doing nothing. This was the first part of the lecture and now we will see the rest of the essay in this class. But before starting the second part, let me remind you or let me sum it up for you. Priestley starts the essay by telling us about his holidays, that once he went to spend time with his friend who lived among the Yorkshire fells, and these fells were 10 miles away from the station. And from there, both of these friends, this friend was an artist, so Priestley and this friend, they used to go on a heath, that is moor, and this moor was 2000 feet above the sea level, and this was an unproductive piece of land, but there were here and there the patches of grass. It was a calm place because it was a moor. Nobody used to go there. Only these two friends went there and enjoyed the place very much, the beauty of the place very much. He says that because the place was undisturbed, nobody was there to disturb, there was complete calmness and silence. So we enjoyed both these things there. And the grass, the patches of the grass were so attractive that it seemed as if they are alluring or inviting someone to have a rest on them and enjoy. The writer compares this place to the entrance to heaven. He says, when we went there, we felt as if we are entering into heaven. We enjoyed like gods, like the holy souls who enjoy in heaven. They also do not do anything there, and both of us were also not doing anything but just enjoying the place. He says, though the place was monotonous, but it gave us freshness. What was the reason? That even after being monotonous, it gave them freshness because nobody came there to disturb them. There was no sound, no activity and nothing. But he says, through our imagination, we kept enjoying whole day. We saw the clouds there in the sky, and when the clouds changed their shape and size, we created some figure out of them and we enjoyed it. We also enjoyed the changing colors of the horizon. So all these things gave them energy and freshness. And after describing the beauty of the place, he also actually this essay is based on the praise of idleness. So now he says, in this part of lecture we see that he says, when we are spending our time freely and carelessly, other people of society, other people, our friends, relatives and the like, must be busy in different activities of the world. They must be busy with their business, or they must be quarreling, or they must be busy in money matters. The writer says that we enjoyed a better time than these people. He compares himself and his friend with gods. Gods, live in heaven. They are free from worldly worries. In the same way, both of these fellows were enjoying the calmness of this place and were free from worldly tensions. After returning from his pleasure trip, Priestley came to know that the delightful time which they spent doing nothing was being condemned. He read about it in a newspaper that some Mr. Selfridge, he condemned such a leisure time. So he criticized those people who waste their time by doing nothing. Priestley was not sure whether Mr. Selfridge condemned him and his friend, as he did not blame them by using their names, so he was not sure. He was also not sure whether Mr. Selfridge was really addressing idle people like him, or he was addressing some group of businessmen. So he was not sure whether he was talking about himself and his friend, or he was addressing someone else, but he was quite sure about one thing, that Mr. Selfridge hated idleness and those people who waste their time doing nothing. According to Priestley, Mr. Selfridge was a narrow-minded and prejudiced fellow. He could not feel the joy of doing nothing. Lying inactively and peacefully gave such a great joy to Priestley and his friend that he thinks everyone should enjoy such a careless period of time. He says Mr. Selfridge only saw the darker and typical side of inactivity. He was prejudiced enough to see the brighter side, that is, getting pleasure from such inactivity. He says this is a typical thought that those people who are idle, they are wasting their time. This is only the darker side or the typical side of the thing. The other side, he says, the bright side is that idleness also or inactivity also can give you pleasure. So, according to him, Mr. Selfridge was unable to see the bright side of this thing. To speak against such delightful idleness, he says, is not only wrong, but it can be harmful also. Priestley says the devil is always busy doing something wrong. He is the busiest person. We cannot call him a person. He is the busiest creature in the world. His followers also are busy in some wrongful deed. So devil likes people who are always active and doing something harmful. Because of active people always doing something or the other, the world has become a chaos. But idleness should not be blamed for this fuss and chaos. Idle people do not do anything. They neither do good nor do they do bad. So how can they be blamed for the fuss? All the fuss in this world has been created by active people like politicians, kings, generals, and journalists. The activities of such people cause wars. He gives the example of the First World War, which was fought in 1914. The world could have been saved from the World War if all these active people would have become idle. Instead of going to fight the war, they would have taken some rest. Now, according to Priestley, Americans are very active people. They are always up to something. They don't like idleness. This is the reason of their development in different fields. But this overactiveness has spoiled their society. And for this reason, American writers criticize their society. According to Priestley, American writers also speak in favor of idleness. They think their salvation and delight lies in idleness only. Priestley gives the example of Thoreau and the great American philosopher, and Whitman, the great American poet. He says, these great writers became so great because of their idleness. Most of the time, they were doing nothing but observing nature. So their idleness made them so great. It was due to their idleness that they were able to produce some great creations. So Priestley says, if one wants to get delight from doing nothing, he must have the power of imagination. It is not just a simple matter of doing nothing, but one must have the power of imagination if he really wants to enjoy idleness. He gives the example of Wordsworth. He says, Wordsworth wrote many of his poems while observing nature idly. He says if Wordsworth were alive, he again, in these times also, he would have spoken in favor of idleness. He would have taught the true value of doing nothing in this world and getting pleasure from it. So Priestley himself speaks in favor of idleness, and he gives example of some great writers who were also in favor of idleness. Now let's talk about his style. The style of his writings. His writings are marked. You can notice when you read the text, this essay also is marked with irony, wit, and humor. And the style we see is colloquial. It seems as if two people are talking to one another. And this is, though the style is very simple, but it is captivating. There is vivacity and clarity in his style.